5-0 is loading. Zero State. The phony is showing. Welcome to the Big House Breakdown. This is all things Michigan football and college football sports talk. I am your host, Vic. Welcome to this extravaganza preview show of The Game. That's right, Michigan plays the annual Mudfest, stick your foot in a tire slugfest that they like to call the battle at the Big House. Michigan takes on Ohio State. And we're here to talk about it. It's the best rivalry in sports. It used to be Yankees and Red Sox. Now, based on ratings, 23 million people a year say that this is the best rivalry in college football. Don't argue with me. Argue with your mama and your papa and that dry ass turkey you eating today. Now I'm playing. Enjoy your family day. We love y'all. But we talking about Michigan, Ohio State. And as usual, a lot of marbles on the line in this one. A lot of jobs on the line in this one. A lot of recruits on the line in this one. It's a lot going on. We gonna talk about it today on the BHB, the Big House Breakdown, college football sports talk. So let's get right into it. Let's do it. Top 25. Top 25 is in for the last week of the football season. Rivalry week, as they call it. Ohio State is in at 1. They've been circling the drain in that regard all year. Indiana is 2. They can make a claim that they should be 1. Texas A&M with Marcel Reed is at number 3. That scrappy bunch. Love what they doing. Georgia is 4. I told you that Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, and Ole Miss is kind of will kind of do flip flops over the next 2 weeks, and I wasn't wrong because the order was reversed a little while ago. Texas Tech at 5, Oregon at 6, Ole Miss with Chambliss spinning that thing at 7, Oklahoma at 8. They climbed back up. They were all the way down to 15, 16 at one point. Notre Dame at 9 might be a little overrated there. You could flip flop Notre Dame and Bama as far as I'm concerned. BYU at 11, Miami at 12. Miami is probably going to win the ACC this year for football. They are in for the playoffs. The Utah Utes is getting it done at 13. Vandy. Wow, Vandy. Wow, you have rocked on tough this year. You've been on this year. You're steady at 14. Your Michigan Wolverines at 15. Texas at 16. SC at 17 after that loss to Oregon. Virginia at 18. Tennessee at 19. Arizona at 20. MSU at 21. What you doing at MSU being there? Pitt at 22. Love to see that. Always a scrappy unit with a lot of talent out of Pitt. Georgia Tech at 23. I thought Georgia Tech was going to ride with Vandy in the middle of the pack. 24, Tulane, and Arizona again at 25. Those are your college football rankings for this week going into the last week of the season. Does this order make any sense? I already told you. 4, 5, 6, and 7 is going to play musical chairs. 9 and 10 could be flip-flopped and nobody would be mad. BYU is a pretender. I still think I'm happy Vandy's here because at least you see a fresh face. But I don't think anyone thinks on an even feel that Vandy's going to be Michigan. No. So Michigan should be 14. Does anybody think that the Utah Utes might be a Michigan? I don't think so. Michigan should be at 13. What I think is the College Football Playoff Committee did not want to just have Michigan jump from 18 to like 11, like right off rip. That's all I think. But Michigan takes care of business versus these bums from Zero State. We will have no problems being right there maybe even outseeding Notre Dame. But I know in order to make the playoff, we got to win this game versus Ohio State. And then the committee has some explaining to do about how Michigan could be held back beyond and Vandy, Utah, and BYU could be above a Michigan. I can understand a Miami having a claim, but BYU, Vandy, and Utah don't see it. Michigan will probably be, with a win in the college football playoffs, or the title game rather, Michigan will probably be in the playoffs as like a 10 or a 9 seed. We'll see. We shall see. That's why they play the game, right? That's why they play the game. You got to line up, put your people on the line of scrimmage above our people on the line of scrimmage, and we make it do what it do, baby. We make it do what it do. So we here for you. We talking this college football ish. We just got done with the top 25. We're probably going to jump back into the top 25 to explain a couple of things down the line. But now that we talked about where everybody is ranked, let's talk about the outstanding players for last week. So the outstanding players for last week in college football, Jeremiah Love continued a strong Heisman campaign with 171 rushing yards in their dominant win over Syracuse. Arch Manning, 6 touchdowns in their victory over Arkansas. Diego Pavia was highlighted on ESPN for his Week 13 performance. Kevin Jennings, quarterback for SMU, 300 yards in a 38-6 win over Louisville. Jordan Hudson, SMU emerged as their threat for SMU over Louisville. Bryson Cosdall rushed for over 100 yards, stepped up in the Michigan backfield when we were treating Jordan Marshall in our load management program as we won and blew out Maryland 45-13. No, the score really was 45-20, but they scored a garbage touchdown in the fourth quarter to make it 45-20. I won't tell nobody that. Devin Dampier of Utah Utes scored a touchdown in the final minute to beat in a win for the Utes. And Malik Benson of Notre Dame was highlighted for his exceptional play at wide receiver for Notre Dame. Them gong dudes, gong, touchdown Jesus, and all of that. So if you want to talk about any of the outstanding performances that we just went over, you got a team and you thought one of your best players on your team contributed to an outstanding performance last week, and we should look out for what their team is going to do this week. Jump on in here. The water's fine. Chop it up with us on the Big House Breakdown. College football sports talk show. We got you covered. I'm about to put the call letters below. You put them in your URL above. You put it in your your box above. Type it in with a grin, and you can come in and talk your ish about your college football team and where they fall last week leading into the rivalry games week. So here it is, throwing it up, and there you go. StreamYard.com, 84E2MNXUZ3. Again, StreamYard.com. Put it in your address bar above, and you could chop it up with us on here on the Big House Breakdown. And the number is A4E2MNXUZ3. The number 3. Put it above, and you could talk about that team that you love. Now let's go to Heisman Watch. Bum bum. I'm gonna make a ticker for this so you can all see it and get involved. Boom. So there we go. Now, this particular one is a Heisman Watch list of those who are in contention for the coveted Heisman Award, the top award in college football. You got and these are positions that don't automatically leave out skill position players. They include skill position players. Okay. So we got Fernando Mendoza, Indiana. We got Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame. I don't know how he crept up to number 2. We got Julian Sayin at Ohio State. We got Marcel Reed at Texas A&M. We got Diego Pavia at Vandy. We got Dante Moore at Oregon. We got Ty Simpson spinning at Bama. And then we got Nussmeier spinning in North Texas. Let us know what you think about these Heisman contenders. Now, in Fox's Heisman contender list, they just have quarterbacks. And they're thinking Julian Sayin is above Fernando Mendoza of Indiana, right? Zero State, Julian Sayin. We about to rattle his cage this weekend. Ty Simpson is in a third among that list, and Marcel Reed of Texas A&M is pulling in the rear, and that would be your Heisman watch for this week going into rivalry week in college football. We love it, you love it. You get in here, talk your ish about your team. So we did top 25, outstanding players, Heisman watch. Now let's get into it. If college football playoffs were today with the expanded field, this is what it would look like. You would have Ohio State at 1. You would have with a bye Indiana at 2 with a bye, Texas A&M at 3 with a bye, and Georgia at 4 with a bye, which is very interesting. I'm not sure that Georgia number 4 is going to be there when it's all said and done. But we shall see what we shall see, right? And then pulling up the rear in your field of expanded playoff interest, number 10 Bama would take on number 7 Oregon. And I'd pay to see that game. That's entertaining. Miami would play Ole Miss. Chambliss. I'm a fan of Chambliss. Want to see that young man spin that rock. Notre Dame against Oregon. Notre Dame is a pretender in my book. I think Oklahoma moves on to play Ohio State in that bracket. And then Tulane would take on a Texas Tech. I think Tulane, with their interesting offensive formations and executions, would win that matchup and give Georgia a very easy move to a semifinal in the college football playoffs. So there you have it. And if you feel any different than I feel, you want to talk your ish about the top 25, the top performances of the college football week that was. If you want to talk your ish about the Heisman, who do you think should get it? Mendoza, Julian Sayin, Marcel Reed, Ty Simpson. Y'all jump on in here. Or if y'all want to talk about the college football playoff prediction field, expanded field, and how it should line up, get your own from here. Talk to me. You put the call letters below in your address bar above. I bring you up and we could talk that college football ish. You know what I'm saying? All right. So now, how the top 25 is what it is, right? AP poll. You got the Associated Press. You got the coaches. You even got some college football committee and alumni of the sport voting on how this AP poll winds up, right? And we know that we want our Michigan Wolverines to be in the college football playoffs. They would need help by getting with losses by Vandy, losses by BYU, and losses by Notre Dame. That would help us move into a super duper picture and be and throttle right in position to be right around 10, 9, or 8 in the college football playoff scenario. But these rivalry games are going to have something to say about whether or not that actually happens. College football nut jobs all over the world. Tune in. Let me know. Tell your bro what you think is going to happen in these matchups. Now, you know The Game is going to come on at 12 p.m. on Fox. The Michigan Wolverines, 5-0 loading against them bums from Zero State. We'll see what they got to say Saturday. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking my Wolverines. Ohio State don't do enough on the offensive line to me. Give me Michigan in that one. Then you got Memphis taking on Navy. Navy's gonna run that, read and that triple option to death. So we'll see what happens there. I don't have a read for that game. Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. Give me Ole Miss, and Chambliss is going to torch their behinds. Georgia Tech. Give me Georgia in that one. I don't see an upset coming from Georgia Tech. Although, if anybody knows what Georgia Tech is doing, it would be their in-state compadres. Texas A&M playing Texas. Give me that scrappy bunch from Texas A&M with something to prove to the college football world, even though they're ranked number 3. The U takes on Pitt. I think the U just got too much for that scrappy bunch in Pittsburgh. Give me Pitt. Give me Miami in a 2-score game. Now this one here, Oregon versus Washington. Very interesting game. All kinds of implications. Oregon can help give us the HBO special, help a brother out, help Michigan out, give us that win that we need so that we could bump Oregon down a peg and get inside this college football top 10 ranking if you beat Oregon. We know you guys aren't going to the playoffs. This is your playoff. This is your quote unquote Super Bowl, as it were. Beat your rivals that you know how to play really well. If any team in the Pac-10 or the former Pac-10 knows how to play Oregon well, it's Washington. And, you guys got enough talent over there at Washington with Lemon and, the quarterback, Damon. Y'all could get that done. LSU at Oklahoma. I see Oklahoma coming out of this. I don't think LSU has enough. Vandy and Tennessee. I think this is a field goal game. This is a slobber knocker. And then some hometown beef with Bama and Auburn. This may go down to the wire. They know each other a little bit too well. I think Bama would not want to lose their footing in the college football playoff, as it were. This is an old rivalry that goes back to, one button chin straps and leather face masks and leather helmets. Give me Bama in this one. Ty Simpson is just spinning that rock a little too damn well. All right, so we are moving on from that. And let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of the top 25. Let us know what you think about the outstanding players from last week's college football week that was. Let us know what you think about the Heisman watch. Is it Mendoza? Is it Sand? Is it Marcel Reed? Let us know what you think. If the playoffs were today, who would get the bye? Who would land in the field of expanded field? Tell us about it right here on the college football playoffs. And lastly, let us know who you guys got in all these rival games coming up this week in college football. We got regional games going on all over the country. White boys and rednecks losing their minds, tailgating, college students failing in their classes to watch these games. So that means you need to also. And that also means you need to jump in to the Big House Breakdown, college football sports talk show, and let me know what you think of these matchups and how the outcomes played out. All right, man. And we want to take a moment on the BHB, the Big House Breakdown College Football Sports Talk Show, to thank our sponsors. We want to thank Redeem Vacations. We want to thank Total Package Energy, and we also want to thank Bats Footwear. Check them out on Amazon or any of the major shopping exchanges for Black Friday deals. Tell them the Real HD Show Network sent you. Also, before we come back with the analysis of the game, right? We want to take a moment to give you a video of some upcoming really great programming on the Real HD TV network. All right, check it out. All right. So, like the video was talking about, we got some really interesting stuff coming up this week. Please support the Real HD show. Was yesterday. Today is the BHB, the Big House Breakdown College Sports Talk Show. You want to support that? Make sure you support the show on Friday on the Real HD Show TV network, which is Broadcast Beats. We are doing Battle of the Best. Show up and vote for your favorite artists. You want to support the Sage Dragon Book Club as we talk about and we replay the origins of faux feminism. And you also want to check out in the bonus a hoop show for hoop heads where we bug out, we laugh, we have a good time, we argue, we fuss, we fight, but we talking ball, we talking hoops, and the unique way that ball meets life. All right, and also if you would like, right? If you would like, you can join the show, and I want you to tap in. And if you would like your own show, or you would like to participate in one of the shows that we are developing on the Real HD Show Network, make sure you check out or you contact me at vic7@gmx.com, or you can also check me out at jamelali2@gmail.com. We're doing a show called Our People's Party, Vanguard Now, Blacktastic Shopping, Sipping After Dark, our relationship show, Sneaker Madness, our sneaker related show, in the world class co-op shop, all coming to you courtesy of the Real HD Show Network. Thank you. Please, Asante Sana. So we're moving on. Now let's get to the game, the breakdown, the analysis about the annual rivalry game, the best rivalry in sports, Michigan versus Zero State, them bums, because 5-0 is loading. What do I mean by that? We beat them 4 in a row. We're going to beat them 5 in a row. It's loading. That means it's coming through. And we want you to come through with some dialogue about what you think. Ish talk about your team. Ish talk, if you're an Ohio State fan, you're welcome. You might come in here with an arm and leave with a nub, but you're welcome to come on in here and join what we're doing, because now we're talking about matchups. That's right. The head-to-head look at each position on each team as I run through them, and you can be prepared for what you're going to see Saturday at 12 o'clock on Fox, when the best rivalry in college football, or sports for that matter, takes center stage and will shock the nation of college football. All right, so let's take a look at it. We got Julian Sayin, quarterback from Ohio State, and then we got Bryce Underwood, the freshman phenom, going head to head. They won't play each other, but they're going to be playing on the same field, spinning it for their team. Who wins the matchup edge in that degree? Well, Bryce Underwood has had a good season. He's had a bunch of 250-yard games, a couple of 300-yard games. Julian Sayin has been spinning ridiculously, as we talked about it before. Julian Sand is up for the Heisman because of his outstanding play. So he's a very accurate quarterback. He throws a really nice deep ball. He has a very keen processing mind. So he goes through his progressions really well. Now, I'm going to give this matchup edge rather, to Julian Sand, only for production. I don't think he's more talented than Bryce Underwood. That's the homie. But I do think I'm going to give it to him because of outcomes and data. He has more data. He has more outcomes on the season. The metrics are just better for Julian Sand. But I think Bryce Underwood is the more talented quarterback. And I think Bryce Underwood, at the end of both of their college football careers, will get more done than a Julian Sand. So even though I'm giving Julian Sand the edge, I think Bryce Underwood is immensely more talented. And it's only a slight edge. It's only an edge based on data and statistics. And honestly, Ohio State has played a really soft cream pie, Mr. Softy ice cream type schedule. You know what I mean? When you scheduling HBCU teams on your schedule, I really don't got nothing to say to you about how you undefeated at this point. But, other teams have done similar things. So other top 10 teams have done similar things where they'll schedule a FCS team in there, a James Madison, a Liberty, play them, blow them out, and they'll be like, see, we're undefeated, right? Right. But I'm going to give the edge matchup to Julian Sand. Julian Sand processes and does his progressions on the field a little bit better than Bryce Underwood. I think Bryce Underwood has more talent with his arm and his wheels, his legs. I think, so although, and of course, Julian Sand is a redshirt freshman when Bryce Underwood is a true freshman. So Sand had a little while to sit back, watch, understand mistakes, understand the magnitude of playing quarterback at Ohio State, and affix himself in a way mentally so he can be the best he can be at that position. I'm not going to begrudge him that. And he's made that work for him throughout the entire season. Bryce Underwood hasn't had that chance, but he's going to get it. He's had it this season. He's had a chance to look back, and he's had a topsy-turvy season in terms of performances. But one thing is clear, and nobody in the country will lie to you, that Bryce Underwood is going to be a problem for the Ohio State Buckeyes. They better be prepared. Him and Chip Lindsey are coming. All right, running backs. This is going to be easy. Even though Bo Jackson Jr. is on Ohio State and he has that one cut, take it to the house ability when he wants to have it, in the snow, in the frigid cold, it's going to be about that running back that could go between the tackles, bang, 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 and still have the fortitude to eat clock in the fourth quarter. I'm talking Jordan Marshall. I'm talking Bryce Cusdaw. I'm talking Jasper Parker. Give me Michigan's running backfield in this matchup edge. Jordan Marshall said he's ready to go. Jordan Marshall can hit a home run or he can run you over. He always seems to fall forward. I don't see Ohio State's defense being an exception to what he did already. What's interesting about, and we're going to talk about this when we talk about Michigan's offensive line, if it wasn't Justice Haynes having 600 or 700-yard games on the season, now you got Jordan Marshall having 500 or 600-yard games on the season. Now you got Bryce Cusdaw having a 100-yard game on the season. It doesn't matter what back you put there. It's in the Michigan system. They're going to be gutty. They're going to be gritty. They're going to be one cut, run you over, and blaze you into the end zone. Give me Michigan's backfield in this matchup. I like Ohio State's backfield is talented, Bo Jackson Jr. is talented, but they're not going to dictate the pace of the game the way that the Michigan backfield will dictate the pace of this game. Um, Tight ends. Well, this is an interesting position because Ohio State loves to use their tight end room as eligible receivers downfield. They like to use them like like receivers. So Max Clare is going to get that work at receiver during this game. The same way they did a lot with their tight end in 2022 in that game. And we had to defend, you know, three wide receivers, three wide, and a tight end. So if they came out 3-1 or they came out in an ace formation, their tight end was very much alive, unless they left them in there for pass pro to block inside to be an inline blocker because we was busting that ass on the line of scrimmage with our D line, which has been the case in the last 4 years. The difference in these games have been the play of our defensive and offensive lines. But Max Clare is nothing to sneeze at, and Max Clare is nothing to sneeze at, and our tight end room is immensely talented. We're deep, we're talented, and we've contributed a lot to this season. I'm talking about your Zach Marshalls, your Kleins, your Marlon Kleins, your Hogan Hansons, your Hoffmans. We all coming. And with the injury to Max Bredesen, I know Max Bredesen is going to try to throw a pair of shoulder pads on this week and try to give it a go in warm-ups. And if he feels like he can, get on that field and give us a block or two versus this game, I don't see him being out. I don't see how they're going to hold him back. You know what I mean? It would have to be a doctor that comes along and says, nah, your arm is basically going to fall off if you play this game. But what's interesting about this matchup, and I'll talk about this a little bit more when we talk about game inside the game, is the fact that Hoffman will have to now be a lead fullback or H-back for the Michigan Wolverines in our very, very important run game. And what's interesting about Hoffman is that Hoffman was our leading receiver in our spring game. So Hoffman got them wheels, he got them springs, he got them hands. So we might see some H-back wheels out of the backfield as a little bit of a change up to Hoffman. So this is going to be a real interesting matchup. So not only, what we might see some bluff runs, but we also, with Hoffman blocking and leading, you're going to see the zone reads and you're going to see all the rest of it with the lead blocking. But you also may see some Hoffman downfield. You know what I'm saying? And some interesting passing scenarios. And he is fleet-footed enough to catch that ball and turn 5 yards into 25 and really make an impact on this game. So give me Michigan's tight end room because we're just way too multi-talented, way too multi-versed and schemed in what we do as a unit. I do like Max Clare as a receiver. I think they may have to use him to block inline this week because we come in with them dogs. Give me Michigan with the matchup edge for the tight end room. All right, now, O-line. Now let's get to it. Joe Mora Award nominee, the Michigan Wolverine offensive line. We won it 2 years in a row. We were nominated for a third year, and we're nominated again this year. Why? Because no matter who's in our backfield, we giving them hundo shots. Hundo shots every game. That means we going for 100 plus yards, regardless of what running back is in the backfield for the Michigan Wolverines. Pass blocking is getting better and better every week. And if Bryce Underwood would step up and get into the fight and push that ball downfield in a determined way and in a smart way, I think you would see even better play coming from our offensive line. Now, Ohio State's offensive line. And you got them dudes up front. They all 5 stars. They all vaunted players. You got Austin Severin. You got Luke Montgomery. You got Carson Heisman. You got Tegra Cheshbola. You got Daniel Phillips. You know what I mean? And then inline blocking, you got Max Clare. I like Michigan's offensive line versus Ohio State's defensive front. I just do. I'm going to give them the matchup edge. Why? Because in a game where it's 30 degrees, 27 degrees, wind chill down to 20, 80% chance of snow, and you are significantly hampered by what you see and what you feel outdoors, I think that offensive line of Michigan is going to know how to line up, go crack, crack, get to the second level, provide openings for running backs that know how to get downhill. Also, there's some trepidation from the press community about just how good is that right side of that Ohio State offensive line. Just how good are they? They may be some weak links, some weak sisters, you know what I'm saying, in the bunch. And we're going to see if Michigan's defensive line, in fact, will take advantage of those weak links. Defensive line. I'm going to call this even. Ohio State's defensive line consists of Curry. They consist of Caden McDonald, Taiwan Malone, Kenyatta Jackson. They like to jockey between a 30 and a 40 front. Michigan features Derek Moore. They feature Pierce. They feature Damon Payne Jr. We're about 10 deep at our defensive tackles and our cap positions. Our defensive ends, Jayshon Barham and Derek Moore, are going to be running around like their hair is on fire. I think it's kind of going to be a wash, although scheme-wise, I think Michigan's D-line is going to have more opportunity to make a difference in the game. I don't think Sharon Moore is going to let Ohio State's defensive line make a difference in the game because we're going to line up and just pound them dudes. We'll try to throw the ball in certain scenarios, in certain game situations, maybe 3rd and short, 3rd and medium, 3rd and long. But we're going to want to wear them big boys out. We want to wear them dancing bears out. We want to wear Curry, Reese, and them boys. We want to wear them out. So by the time the 4th quarter comes, maybe we can take a couple of shots downfield that are in our favor. I'm going to call that even. They got Reese. We got Derek Moore. They got Curry. We got Rajon Benny. I'm going to call it even. What's really going to be important about how these two defensive lines face off against each other, who is effective in the second half, late 3rd quarter, early 4th quarter, with everything on the line. Who's effective? Who's been battle tested? Who's effective? And I just think with Michigan running the ball in that sort of a contentious way, I think Michigan's defensive line is going to be more equipped to make a difference in the game because eventually Ohio State is going to settle down into throwing the football, which is what they do. Linebackers. Reese, Houseman, uh, Cole Sullivan, Jimmy Rolder, Sonny Styles. I'm taking my Michigan Wolverine, much improved linebacker room because they're a turnover machine waiting to happen. I can't wait to see what defensive schemes Wink Martindale cooks up so they can get underneath some of those Max Clare passes and pick uh, Julian Sand off on Saturday. I'm looking forward to seeing Cole Sullivan and Jimmy Roller do just that. And I'm looking forward to seeing Ernest Houseman put that hammer on Bo Jackson Jr. Give me Michigan's linebacker in a pinch because Sonny Styles had a severe shoulder injury and they say he's going to play anyway. So that means he's going to be on a pitch count or they're going to be doing a lot of subbing with some people that might be inexperienced against prime competition. Give me the Michigan linebacker room in this edge matchup. And DBs. So everybody likes to talk, all the crap analysis like to talk about Caleb Downs. Now, I'm not saying Caleb Downs ain't that dude. Caleb Downs is that dude. He can play safety. He's going to be an NFL highly touted draft pick, if not a first day, a second day draft pick. Our safety room is nothing to take a sneeze at either. We got the Hitman, Brandon Hillman. We got the scrapper in TJ Metcalf. We got Plastic Man and Mason Curtis who can play down in the box and then also play in the backfield in that 2 deep disguise and coverages. I can't wait to see how these two coordinators scheme up how they're going to use their safeties and how they're going to either succumb to RPO by both teams or defeat RPO by both teams. They have tremendous, talented secondary people. Jaden Mangum on Michigan, Styles on Ohio State as safety. I think McLean, it might be, a weak link amongst the ranks. I think Michigan can game plan to put him on an island and get some dividends out of that joker. He might be video game worthy when you hit him and he drops coins. You know what I'm saying? He might be leaving money on the field because he might be getting cooked up by our wide receiver. Oh, I didn't go over wide receivers. How can I forget wide receivers? So wide receivers, you got an improved Michigan wide receiver group, and then you have that vaulted Ohio State wide receiver group: Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, Brandon Ennis, Quincy Porter. So they're gonna do what they do. They're gonna run around like they got skis and roller skates on and be very, very effective for Julian Sand. And Michigan is nothing to sneeze at because Andrew Marsh is the most productive wide receiver in the Big Ten in the month of October and the month of November. Wink, wink. Don't tell nobody about that. That's our secret. So we're bringing that dude to the game. We're bringing the 6'5" Donovan McCulley that's gonna jump up and catch back shoulder fades and 50-50 balls. We bringing that dude to the game. We're bringing Zach Marshall, who can get in the intermediate areas and act like a Wes Welker. We're bringing that dude to the game. I'm gonna have to go with Ohio State's receiver room only because of stats and outcomes and data, not because I think they're better. And as a matter of fact, we don't even know if Carnell Tate and what's my man name? Julian Smith is gonna play. Jeremiah Smith. Sorry, no, I said Julian Smith. Jeremiah Smith. I don't know if Jeremiah Smith is gonna play. And if they are gonna play, how effective are they gonna be? And we'll get into that when we get into game inside of the game, right? So I'm going to give the edge matchup to wide receivers to Ohio State. And DB's corners, you got Igbinosun and you got uh, Zeke Berry. Those are the two top corners for each team. I think that matchup is pretty much even. If you let somebody tell it, if you let the liquor tell it, they're gonna say Ohio State. I like our scrappy bunch. I think our safety room is way too dynamic, and we can sub in. And we can sub in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go with that as a draw. But turnovers, Mason Curtis, TJ Metcalf, you know, we're very good at turnover differential, and so is Ohio State. 15 for Ohio State on the year, 11 for the Michigan defense on the year. These crews, these secondaries are very evenly matched. Nobody's going to tell you that though. They're not going to admit to it. They will not admit to that. But that's how that shakes out. So let's review. Quarterback edge goes to Ohio State. Running back edge goes to Michigan. Wide receiver edge goes to Ohio State. Tight end edge goes to Michigan. Offensive line edge goes to Michigan. Very interesting there. D line, a draw. Linebackers go to Michigan, and secondary is a draw. Now, only thing I'm gonna do coaching this week. I usually don't do coaching and matchup edges, but this week I'm gonna do coaching and matchup edge, and I think the Michigan Wolverines have an edge in coaching this week, and I'm gonna tell you why. You got Wink Martindale, who runs the same defensive scheme that's beaten this style of offense that comes from Ohio State for 4 years running. Same offense, same defensive scheme is whooping on these dudes. And now you got the creator, the originator of this defensive scheme, ready to whoop on the same coaching staff, Brian Hartline and Ryan Day, that's going to wheel out this same sort of timing, rhythm, air raid offense from Ohio State. And Michigan has seen this before. So you can expect some exotic looking play schemes on defense that are going to make Julian Sayin really uncomfortable. May just ruin his Heisman candidacy with one game. All right, let's move on to Eye in the Sky. Because the eye in the sky don't lie. We're talking about the character, integrity, and momentum of each team. But we're going to go in reverse. We're going to go momentum, integrity, and character this week because I think it matters. Momentum. Well, both teams have tremendous momentum. Ohio State is undefeated. Michigan has only 2 losses on the season. Everything in front of them, winners of the last 5 straight. So, has what team has more momentum? I would like to say the Michigan Wolverines. Why? Because they're battle tested. I think there's a stat that says that Ohio State's team has rested their defense and certain offensive players throughout the season to the tune of, and the duration time wise, it would equal an entire game when they could have been on the field getting that in-game experience versus competition. I think that's important. I think that's important. I think that's important to note, and we'll get into that when we talk about the game inside the game. So I think Michigan has more momentum going into the game. Also, let's talk about integrity. Not really liking what I'm hearing from Ryan Day in the press coverage and the pressers this week. Sharon Moore for Michigan is like, yo, take them dudes seriously. We gotta play like our life depends on it. We gotta run around with our hair on fire, right? Ryan Day's talking about, acting like it's another game. That's wild to me. He did mention that they have to be physical, but to say this is another game and make it underwhelming for his team, maybe that's a tactic of his to take pressure off some of his boys for having to win or not win. What I'm gonna say is I don't really like the edge of how they're constituted and what I'm hearing coming from their coaches this week. There's going to be a lot of slow singing and flower bringing if and when Michigan beats Ohio State for the 5th year in a row. It may not matter if Ohio State goes on to win the national championship, but in fact, it will matter because when Michigan beats Ohio State, because they will effectively be in the playoffs. So I think Michigan has all the integrity going into this one. And why wouldn't they? Nobody on Ohio State's roster has ever beaten Michigan. Something to really think about. Okay. Lastly, character. Okay. Michigan is all about physicality. When they warm up, the first drill they do is each one of them is pushing sled. They pushing sled 50 yards every single time. Every single time they warm up before they even start a practice, they are pushing the sled 50 times. I don't know what they're doing in Ohio State, but that's what Michigan's grinding out and doing. And that's the reason why Michigan always seems to win on the LOS, the line of scrimmage. Now, doesn't mean that Ohio State doesn't have them nasty bulls, them dancing bears that can get it done. I'm sure they do. I just think that the philosophy of one program is such, the philosophy of another program is such, and it bleeds and it pumps like a heart pumps an intestinal fortitude. So the eye in the sky is telling me that a team that had a cupcake schedule versus a team that's battle tested, give me the team that's battle tested. I'll take them. I'll take them playing Oklahoma. I'll take them battling out USC. I'll take them beating Washington. I'll take Michigan in the toughie games versus Ohio State that their players are in Club Med relaxing with their feet up by the pool in the fourth quarter without even having to break a sweat. They're going to have to break a sweat this week. All right, y'all. And this is the section that we all know and love, predictions and the game inside the game. That's right. It's going to boil down to what does Bryce Underwood do versus the Ohio State defense. What does Julian Sayin do against the Michigan defense? Featuring really good defensive lines, really good linebacker groups, and really, really heady, spontaneous defensive secondaries. Let's talk about the game inside the game. 4 reasons why Michigan will beat Ohio State. Number 1, Michigan is battle tested. As I just went through the gauntlet of games that Michigan has had to play, and Nebraska. So you're playing Nebraska, you're playing Wisconsin, you're playing Washington, you're playing USC, you're playing Oklahoma, and now you're playing Ohio State. And your boys have had to blood, sweat, and tears, sweat equity their way through that gauntlet of games. Home and away, home and away, home and away, home and away. We got road warriors, dog. We gonna get in there and get busy. We not fearing them boys. We ready to come through, and it's gonna be a hit party, hit party. Number two, the reason why Michigan will beat the Ohio State Buckeyes is Michigan is 5-0 loading. We rent space in them dudes' heads. Free for free. We living in their head rent free. No doubt. Living in their consciousness rent free. The coaches know that. There's nobody on the roster who's ever beaten Michigan in this sort of a game. The game where, man, you're going to leave your feet to make a play. In this game, it might be every play somebody is leaving their feet to make a play in this game. I shit you not. Give me Michigan because our heart don't pump Kool-Aid in this one. Number three, Ohio State does not recruit like Michigan. Michigan recruits to beat Ohio State in that air raid style of offense. They don't recruit on the LOS. They don't recruit super, super heavy on the line of scrimmage. With them dudes that know how to get it done and be nasty and be game defining on the line of scrimmage. And Michigan has seen 6 games this year where we had to be game defining on the line of scrimmage. Michigan knows how to do that. Not really sure Ohio State knows how to do that. And if the Washington game is any precursor or foreshadow to who does what on a line of scrimmage, Washington was running up and down the field on Ohio State, whereas they weren't doing that versus Michigan. 3 turnovers in the second half. Michigan controlled that game on the LOS. Lastly, when there's plays to be made and uncanny performances to be had, what team do you think you're going to get an uncanny performance from? The team that likes to play with a lead or the team that's battle tested? I think you're going to get an uncanny performance from the team that's battle tested. You got a Cosdall, uncanny performance. Jordan Marshall, uncanny performances throughout the year. Bryce Underwood, uncanny performances throughout the year. Zavada with his leg kicking the ball, uncanny performances throughout the year. You really can't say that you're going to get the uncanny performance from Ohio State in that regard. Not sure if Bo Jackson has that in him. Not sure if Smith has that in him. Not sure if Carnell Tate has that in him. Carnell Tate was nowhere to be found. He wasn't a difference maker in the game last year when he played. And if I'm Michigan, I take a play out of one more thing, and I alluded to it. So this will be a 5th reason. The Michigan coaching staff has the defense that beat these dudes 4 years in a row. The Raven style defense that Wink Martindale created has beaten Ohio State 4 years and loading. Ohio State has changed defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators several times throughout these 4 games that Michigan has been playing. The defensive scheme hasn't changed for Michigan. We still got players from the championship game still there. So the defensive scheme, regardless of coach, is still intact that beat Ohio State. So I'm sure that Wink Martindale may call Jesse Minter and say, hey, what's some of the things that work for you versus this Ohio State in this Ohio State game? And let me implore some of them things. And then he's going to be calling the coach before that. Say, hey, what worked for you in this scheme? And then say, okay, let's put some of that in this game and make this Julian Saint kid shook. And Ryan Day is not a great situational football coach. Brian Hartline, as offensive coordinator, is already 0-1 versus the Michigan scheme, 5-0 loading against these bums. Lastly, the old adage of football says running game travels and defense wins championships. Michigan football got that in spades for these bums. We're going to see this weekend. When that snow start falling and them parkers start going on and them dudes want to sit next to the heating unit on the sideline rather than be on the field, that boa constrictor comes out and we eat that clock up. And we get TJ Metcalf and Brandon Hillman to lay the wood on these dudes more than we're concerned with breaking up passes. And in the fourth quarter, them fingers start stinging, them forearms start stinging because they hurting from getting banged on all year long. We're going to see some dudes going ole like the bull in the ring, in the matador. Ole, they're going to start letting some holes get open. And that boa constrictor going to come out and strangle that clock. And when they cold and hurting and stinging on the sideline, and they offense got to sit there and hope that they get another shot to get on the field to make the difference to win this game, I think we're going to see that Michigan is the antithesis of the air raid scheme in modern day college football. Give me Michigan 27-17 defeating the Ohio State Buckeyes for the Cinco de Mayo year in a row in the game. I think they're going to have a couple of turnovers on saying. We're going to speed up his already sped up clock, according to Joel Klatt. And the crap analysis just getting after this. We just talking about real football. All of the football pundits are now shaking in their boots from the invisible bully, that boa constrictor that comes out for Michigan. And they're saying, I got to see Ohio State do it. They always seem to buckle to the Michigan boa constrictor bully. Let's see if they can beat it this year. I don't think so. The Amazing Blue don't play that. All right, y'all. That's it. That's all I got for the game this week and your big house breakdown of the biggest rivalry in sports, 5-0 loading, the Michigan Wolverines versus the Zero State Bum Eyes. You know what I'm saying? They're doing their thing. We're going to see how it goes. We will have, and I told you so, breakdown on Monday, noon time. Expect that during your noon lunch hour so you can go to the water cooler and talk that ish. Breakdown of the game that was and how it manifests itself. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment and make sure you share and turn on all your notifications so every time we have a big house breakdown college football talk show, you too can join us and talk your college football ish right here on the Big House Breakdown. Peace and go blue.